Welcome back to another OCR GCSE business video. I'll be covering 5.4 today, which is break even. So what is break even or break even quantity? Break even is the level of output at which a business neither makes a profit or a loss. So it's where revenue and total cost will be the same figure. Contribution or contribution per unit is the difference between sale price and the cost to make it. For example, if a Mars bar costs 20p to make a Mars bar and you sell it for 60p, the contribution is 40p on those Mars bars. So this is a bit of a recap, but we need this knowledge to be able to continue to do break even. So you might want to pause it here, draw this table out or print this table. You've got all the information you need already on the table to be able to figure out all of the blank cells. So pause this, have a go at it, and I'll go through how to do this if you're struggling on the next slide. Okay, hopefully you've got these answers. If not, all you needed to do, if I go back a step, so it says here the revenue is 900 if they sell 3 rocking horses. Well, if I do 900 then divided by 3, that will tell me how much they're making, or how much they're selling, I should say, each rocking horse for. So 900 divided by 3 means 300. So that's what they're selling each rocking horse for. We know fixed costs just stay the same, so that's the same all the way down. Variable costs, it says that they to produce 6 items is going to cost 1,200. So I do 1,200 divided by 6, which is going to be 200, and therefore that's £200 it's going to cost to produce each rocking horse. And then it's just a case of filling in the table. You will notice a few things here once you've completed this table. Okay, you will notice the biggest thing that you'll notice is at 5 units they make a grand total of £0 profit. This is the important bit. Okay, so this is break even and break even output. So break even is where revenue and total costs are even, and you'll notice here, I think I circled it, yeah. You'll notice the revenue and the total costs are both 1,500, they're the same. That is where break even has occurred, and that is why we're making £0 profit. So this business must sell 5 rocking horses to break even. If they want to make a profit, then they need to sell 6 onwards. This is really important information for a business to know. So there's a couple of important calculations you need to know. We can calculate contribution by doing sale price, take away variable cost per unit, and we can calculate break even by doing fixed cost divided by the contribution. So let's go through those two formulas with a sort of exam style example. So a bakery offers a meal deal for £3 and it costs them £1.50 to make each meal deal. They also pay £1,000 in fixed costs, rent, insurance, blah blah blah. So let's calculate their break even. Right, the first thing to be able to calculate break even we need to calculate is contribution. Well, if they are selling their item for £3 and it costs them £1.50 to make, we do 3, take away £1.50 is £1.50. So the contribution on every meal deal they sell is £1.50. Next up is break even, which is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Well, we got told earlier that fixed costs were £1,000. £1,000 divided by the contribution, which we just calculated, which was £1.50. 1,000 divided by £1.50 is 666.6 recurring. Okay, now in break even, if it's a decimal, even if it is 0.00001, whatever the decimal is, if we get a decimal, we always round up. So therefore this answer is going to be 667 units. Obviously if we get the answer and it's a whole unit like 252, then you just leave it alone. But if you ever get a decimal and break even, you always round up. So here's a couple more exam questions to do. Just pause it here and then I'll put the answers and the workings on the next slide. Okay, here's your workings and answers for the next one. If you got caught out with the second one, I gave you total variable costs, which were £400, and they actually produced 100 units. You need to do 400 divided by 100 to get the variable cost of 1 unit. Okay, here's another exam question. So go ahead, see if you can calculate the break even based on this information. Pause it here. Okay, so I'll go through the answer here. So first of all, we need to do, that's the formula. It's as simple as just doing the fixed cost, which were 12,000 divided by the contribution. The contribution is simply 180, take away 120, which gives us 60. 12,000 divided by 60 equals 200 units. So they break even at 200 units. If they want to make a profit, they must sell 201 units onwards. Okay, here's a few more questions, so feel free to pause and have a go at some of these. SP just means sale price, VC just means variable cost, PU means per unit. Okay, here's your answers and working. So have a pause here, check against what I've done, make sure you're happy. Okay, now if you're doing OCR GCSE business, you do not need to be able to draw out a break even from scratch. Your teacher may make you do that for practice, and I actually think it's a really good idea to do that, but you will not have to draw one out from scratch. What you do need to be able to understand is to be able to interpret a break-even graph and understand one. So this is a break-even graph, and just make sure I've labeled it properly. Yes. So the red line is revenue. We know it's revenue because it starts at 0, 0. It's the only line at 0, 0. That's because if I sell nothing, I get no money. We've then got a blue line that goes horizontal. The only horizontal has to be fixed cost because it's the only cost that stays exactly the same. So that's going across at 12,000. Then we've got a total cost. Total cost is the only line that starts exactly where fixed costs start. And that one's going up to, it looks like about 72,000. I think this is based off of one of the previous data tables we had before. Anyway, you probably get something like this that looks exactly like this, and they might ask you to tell them, what is the break-even point, or what is the profit, or whatever it might be. Let's do profit first of all. Profit is the top triangle, anywhere past the break-even point. Loss is anywhere in that bottom triangle. Break-even point is where revenue and total costs meet. Okay, so where those two lines cross, that is the break-even point. Break-even output is if you go straight down from the break-even point, that is your break-even output. So in this situation here, the break-even was at 200 units. So let's finish off. So what are the pros and cons of doing a break-even analysis? Well, it can help you obtain sources of finance. You can take your break-even, if it's done as a prediction, you can take it to the bank and say, look, we've got a really strong break-even. We don't need to sell that many products, but we maybe want to borrow money for some sort of expansion. It can also help us make decisions about pricing and costs. It can also help us calculate how many sales are needed to break even, and then we can adjust our marketing mix depending on that. Disadvantages, if you've got loads of different products like Tesco, this is going to be really difficult. So you've got thousands of different products. What, you're going to put together thousands of break-evens? That's really difficult. Obviously, if you've got a much smaller product range, it might be more useful for you. Cost may also change. If you're doing a wooden rocking horse, then obviously the price of wood goes up and down. So therefore, that can have an impact on your results. And also your competitors' activity may change, and that will also have an impact on your overall results. Thanks very much. Bye.